Geometry, Unit 7, which is Chapter 5 from the book, Section 2. The exterior angles of a polygon. The sum of the exterior angles of any regular polygon is always 360. Now let's look at that with a regular triangle and a regular quadrilateral. So we know on a regular triangle, the interior angles are 60. Now we know the interior and exterior angles are supplementary because this is a linear pair. So that's got to be 120, 120, 120. So 120 plus 120 plus 120 is 360. All right, now let's look at the square. Now we know a square, they're all 90. Thus, we know all these angles are also 90, again, because they are a linear pair. So 90 times 4 is also 360. Now, let's take this from a visual perspective here. So if we take a triangle here, we've got a triangle, and we zoom out. So in other words, whereas if we're looking at this diagram from a further and further distance, so you can see the triangle is getting smaller, and eventually the triangle, which is right here, looks like nothing but a dot. And then you've got just these three lines. Well, we know that adds up to 360. We can do the same thing with the square. You can see it's going further and further out. And eventually, all you have is just these lines, which we know adds up to 360. And now we take a hexagon. Again, we zoom out, and it gets further and further out, and you have nothing but these lines. And we know those add up to 360. Now, we can do that with any regular polygon. Eventually, when we zoom out far enough, we have nothing but those lines left, which add up to 360. Now, we know our exterior interior angles add up to 180 because they are a linear pair. Adds up to 180. Adds up to 180. Adds up to 180. So our interior and exterior angles always add up to 180. Now we can figure out all of this information, the interior sum of the angles, each individual interior angle, each individual exterior angle, and then the number of sides. Given any one of those pieces of information, we can figure out the other three. So we've got a hexagon here. A hexagon has 6 sides. Now the exterior angle is easy to calculate. We can go back here to figure out how to calculate the exterior angle. We know they all add up to 360. On a triangle, how many lines are there? 3. So 360 divided by 3 is 120. 360 divided by 4, 90. So we can take that idea here to figure out the exterior angle. We take 360 divided by the number of sides, which is 6, and that gets us the exterior angle of 60. Now we know these two add up to 180. So the interior angle has to be 120. Now the interior sum is the sum of all these angles. Now we know all those angles are 120. So 120 times 6. So the interior angle times the number of sides. And we get the interior sum is 720. So what if a polygon, let's work, instead of doing number of sides, what if we've got an interior angle, which is 144 degrees? So we have this information. Well, we know, again, these two add up to 180. So that means the exterior angle's got to be 36. Now I can calculate the number of sides from the exterior angles. Again, we go back to that same idea we had back here. Well, what's 360 divided by the exterior angle? Well, 360 divided by 120 is 3. Oh, well, that's interesting. We can do the same thing here. 360 divided by the interior angle divided by 90 is 4. So I can take 360 divide by the exterior angle, which is 36, and I get the number of sides, which is 10. Now the interior sum of the angles is the interior angle, which is 144, times the number of sides, which is 10. So the interior sum is 1,440. So let's look at this problem. It's kind of a tessellation sort of problem going on here. So we have a regular hexagon and a regular heptagon. And we got to figure out what's the measure of angle A. So let's find out what the interior angle of a hexagon, the interior angle of a heptagon, and then we know all three of these add up to 360. So the interior angle of a hexagon, well, we know the exterior is 360 divided by 6, which is 60. Thus, the interior angle has to be 120. A heptagon, exterior angle is 360 divided by number of sides, which is 7. I'll round it. It ends up being 51.4. Again, I rounded that. So the interior angle has to be 180 minus that. So our interior angle, because remember the interior and exterior angles add up to 180, so the interior angle's got to be 128.6. Again, all three of these angles here add up to 360. So 360 minus 120 minus 128.6, and we get 111.4. So angle A is 111.4. And that is the end of this lesson.